I know, I've been gone for a minute. I have had life to do, but today's video is going to be about the big trade. Earlier today, on June 22nd, 2025, the Phoenix Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, the 10th pick in Wednesday's draft, Dillon Brooks, and 5 second-round picks. Let's talk about it. On June 22nd, 2025, the Phoenix Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in Wednesday's draft, and 5 second-round picks. So the KD Suns era is now done. I saw this Twitter post saying it wasn't the end of an era, it was the end of an era. I found this funny because, as we know, the Suns traded for KD in the 2023 trade deadline. It seemed to be a very big move, especially what they got rid of, a lot of draft capital and 2 of their starters, basically. And, they get this guy in KD who they would pair up with, Booker and, hope to win a ring. And a lot of people at that time of the trade were like, this is a lot. But again, it was for KD. So it almost seemed like it should be worth it. In that same year, in the offseason, the Suns traded for Bradley Beal. And this was a more peculiar trade, I think, for some people, especially due to Beal's contract, his no trade clause, and just the amount of money you'd be paying him to basically be a third option. But the Suns went for it. And ever since that, the Suns have not really had great playoff performances with the trio. And now that gets dismantled. We've known for a while that KD and the Suns, it just seemed to be the end of his tenure there. It didn't seem like he was going to return to the team next season. And, the Suns and him and his agent were really working to iron out a deal, and they do it with the Houston Rockets. And I think this is a good landing spot for KD. I think he's going to add a lot to their offense, and a team that was really well defensively already. Don't lose a lot. They do lose Dillon Brooks, who was good on defense for them, but I think they'll still be a good defensive team, and they add his offensive talent. So I think it's really good for the Rockets. For the Suns, I don't think this trade makes any sense. Shams reported that the 2 finalists in the last 24 hours before the trade actually happened were Houston and Miami. And he also said that Miami was not willing to package all or multiple of a Jaquez or Jovic or Khalil Ware, those type of people, in the way that the Suns wanted them to. And then obviously the Rockets get him with this offer. And it's very easy to compare this offer with what they got for KD and say like, oh, you traded Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, 4 first-round picks for Jalen Green. It's easy to say that. It's very easy to say that. But obviously, values of players change, not necessarily due to play, but also just due to age. And obviously KD being on an expiring deal. Obviously he has 1 year left of his deal, and you don't have a lot of leverage. Number one, when he could just leave you next offseason, you would get nothing if they couldn't iron out a deal. Or you really know that his trade destinations, teams that are willing to pay that money to get him, but you also have to recognize, are you willing to mortgage your whole future to get KD? And I don't think the Rockets actually did that. In a way, Jalen Green, I do think that is interesting, that they traded a 23-year-old Jalen Green, who I know people complain about due to his efficiency, and he's not really known for his defensive skills. You trade him for a 36-year-old KD. You are trading the possibility of getting a ring in the next 2 to 3 years for looking out for the potential of Jalen Green. And it kind of makes sense. A team like the Rockets, who, for the past few years seem to have wanted to go to be like a contending team. They want to be caught in the middle or like a lottery team. So they make this big push for KD, and I think it will fare well for them. Hopefully he'll be healthy, and I think he will contribute a lot to that team. In terms of the Suns, again, the moratorium period ends on July 6th. Could Jalen Green still possibly be traded? Maybe, but it's been widely reported that the Suns want to keep him. So yeah, the Phoenix Suns organization doing another thing that I don't understand, kind of like the same thing I didn't understand when they traded for Bradley Beal 2 years ago. They must have something up their sleeve, because a team led by Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Bradley Beal, and a bunch of role players does not sound like a contender. And obviously, it seems like with a KD trade, the Suns wanted to retool. They're not like blowing everything up, at least not for now. I mean, they want to build around Booker, and I don't know Booker personally, but you would think that if this team does not improve in the next few years, like, could he possibly be like, is this the best place where I could be? The Suns, it's almost kind of weird to think that a few years ago that they were in the finals, obviously, with the Bucks. The Bucks ended up winning that championship, and that was in 2021. So that was 4 years ago, that team, that Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, and that team that we see now is way different than that team. It's way worse than that team in one way. And yeah, the KD Booker Beal thing never seemed to work. Again, now that is done. And yeah, I would rate this trade for the Rockets a solid B+, A-. I think this is going to fare well for them, especially if KD's healthy. I'm not going to say they're immediately going to win a ring, because we just seen recently teams like OKC and Pacers make it to the finals. OKC obviously winning. And that teams can really, especially when motivated, make these pushes. So maybe Rockets are that team. Maybe you don't think immediately they can get a ring, but they can make that push. I definitely think a team that was already a second seed got better. So obviously you do lose Jalen Green, and we'll see Jalen Green as a Sun, and hopefully he plays well there. And Dylan Brooks is going to be a solid starter for them. But yeah, Rockets, I would give them B+, A-, and then Suns, I would have to say like a C- or C. They do get the 10th pick. We'll see if they get a good player after that, but I have no idea where the Suns are headed. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, we have free agency coming up and the draft, so stay tuned for more videos. Yes, I am actually back.